Happy Snow Day, students. I know you're so excited to be doing discipline space and watching all of these things, but it's good to do math every day, right? Especially today's supposed to be a math day anyway, so we can stay up to date. I decided to do a different lesson today, one that we would have done later on, because the one that we were going to do on the website that you have reviewed already, hopefully, with the parallel lines cut by transversal, that's more fun to do together. So at least I'm thinking about you a little bit and want you to be able to do that in groups. So today we're going to focus on things that you can do at home by yourself and come to some conclusions. I hope that you found the previous websites to review interesting. I think it's very good to review and know formal definitions of polygons and to be able to really try to conceptualize what a plane actually is. This goes back to some students' questions about, can you actually have a plane in real life? And conceptually, what does that mean? Can you have just the top of a piece of paper be a plane? So it's very interesting to think about. But now we're going to look at how can we determine the number of degrees in a triangle. Some of you may already know the number of degrees in a triangle, which is great, but here we're going to do a little activity to prove it. So what you will need is a ruler, straight edge, a pair of scissors, one piece of paper, and a writing utensil. If you do not have all of these things, if you will go and get them now, you can just pause the video and then start back once you do have them. Okay, our first step here is we're going to draw 3 intersecting lines using your straight edge. It's really important that you do this with a straight edge. If you do not have a straight edge to create 3 lines, I highly recommend you use graph paper to have at least 2 lines that are really straight, or on a piece of notebook paper, try to cut a small triangle just off of the corner of the notebook paper so you're using the 2 straight edges of the notebook paper. If you do have a straight edge, that's great, and that way you can create any kind of triangle. So we could have an obtuse triangle or an acute triangle. It doesn't matter what your triangle looks like. It doesn't have to look like mine. But you see, I took 3 lines, I put them together, and then I just traced them with my technology because I don't have scissors, I can't cut it out. So go ahead and draw 3 straight lines. It can be any way, they just have to intersect, and then cut out your triangle as accurately as possible. It's really important that when you're cutting out the triangle, that you really try to make your lines very straight and that the corners, especially where the angles are cut very precisely. So take your time and do that as accurately as possible. Again, you can pause the video if you need to go ahead and do that. Okay, now what you need to do is number the angles on your triangle. You can just name them 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, whatever. You can color code them different colors if you want. But go ahead and name them. And if you will, in the corner you see where my number 1 is. Make sure that you do that on the opposite side as well. So you would name your angle on the front and back. You don't have to, but I think it'll help you because then you can flip the angle around and you'll still know what angle it is. So if you'll go ahead and do that. And then on your remaining paper, use your straight edge to draw a straight line. If you do not have a straight edge, use the straight line on your notebook paper or use a straight line on your graph paper. It'll just help you to draw. It would just help you delineate and to see it. Okay, now we're going to cut off the angles on your triangles using a curve. Make sure you use a curve so that we know where the angle is. So for example here, I would, if I'm cutting angle 3, I would cut it like this. Okay, or when I'm cutting angle 1, I would cut across like this. When I'm cutting angle 2, I cut across like this. By using a curve, you'll be able to know that this part is the angle of the triangle. This part is the angle of the triangle. This part is the angle of the triangle. You won't be getting confused with thinking that these corners over here are because you have a curve there. So go ahead and cut off your angles. And then what you're going to do is you're going to line up your angles on the line that you created. So if you want to pause while you're still cutting your angles and getting your line together, because I'm about to show you what I'd like you to do, that's fine. So I electronically, see, you can't really see anything behind my triangle here because I have electronically cut my angles. That is, I just traced over them, and so I kind of have the same angles of the triangle here. You see that they disappear because they are the exact angles of this triangle, right? And so I have my angles numbered 1, 2, and 3. And so what we're going to do is we're going to manipulate these angles so that all the angles of the triangle are facing inward on the line. So I'm going to rotate my angle, and you can do that also, or you could even flip yours because you've numbered front and back. So I'm rotating my angle, and I'm going to line it up on the line right here. I'm going to take the second angle and rotate it, and I'm going to line this angle up on the line right here. And then I'm going to take my third angle, rotate it, and also again, I'm going to line it up on the line right here. Okay, and so what kind of angle have we created here? Right, we have created with the 3 angles of the triangle, right? Essentially, we've created a straight angle of 180 degrees, right? You see that 1, 2, and 3, so my angles are still named. These are definitely the angles of the triangle. And when we line them up, we create a straight angle, so that must mean there are exactly 180 degrees in a triangle. And clearly, since you drew your triangle with your straight lines and it's totally different than mine, and every student will have created their own triangle, we see that it works no matter what size, shape, or whatever the triangle is. As long as it's a triangle, it could be obtuse, it could be acute, it could be a right triangle, it could be any triangle at all with any side lengths. Those angles are always going to line up to form a straight line. And if you don't believe it, you can repeat this again with a different size triangle or 3 different lines. Okay, next we're going to look at how can we use this knowledge, and make sure you've written in your notes and that you know, right, for how long, forever, that there are 180 degrees in a triangle. How can we use this knowledge of 180 degrees in a triangle to help us determine the number of degrees in any size polygon, right? What about a pentagon? What about an octagon? What about a dodecagon? How could we determine the number of degrees in any polygon is what we're going to look at next. Thanks.